everyone, Pollywog here, and today I'm going to show you how to make your own miniature DIY no-sew gnome. So this little gnome is made mostly out of felt, and today I'm going to show you how to make your very own. So all you need are the supplies inside of your kit and a hot glue gun and a pair of fabric scissors, and that is pretty much all you need to get this project started. I'm going to go ahead and pause my video and reorient, showing you my hands so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so in your kit you've got two sets of gnome supplies that have a paper clip on them. One of them, everything's already been cut out for you. The other one has extra supplies that you have to cut out yourself, but I've already traced out the shape for the ones that you need to cut, and then the pieces of felt that are just little that don't have anything on them are for you to cut out decorations if you choose to. But I'm going to show you how to do it with the one that is already pre-cut out for you. So you've got a little cut out triangle out of cardstock. You've got this little triangle shape, and this is going to be the hat. You've also got this little shape, and this is going to be the bottom body part of the gnome. I also added some little random shapes into some of the kits, and that's going to be a little decoration. You've got googly eyes, and then you've also got some yarn in your kit. So I'm going to set my yarn off to the side here because I'm going to use that a little bit later. I did already put my shape into the cone, but I'm going to set this one aside to show you how to do that. To me, that's the hardest part of this project, is folding this into the triangle. And basically you can see underneath here, this is actually the whole gnome itself. And we're gonna glue the fabric onto this shape to give the gnome the shape that he has. So the first step we're gonna do is make sure you have your hot glue gun plugged in and ready to go. And then we're gonna work on folding this into a cone. So I have found that it's easy if you take a little bit from one side at a time, and then you just start twisting and rolling it until it looks like a cone. Mine usually gets to look about there, and then I need to bend and fold until it is a nice point up at the top. Now that I've got it into the shape I want it, I'm going to unfold it just a little bit, and I'm going to put hot glue on one side of it. I'm going to be really careful now not to burn my fingers with the hot glue, because I'm going to press the paper together against that hot glue so that it seals it shut. I did get a little bit on my fingers, but I'm using a low temperature hot glue gun, so luckily it isn't that painful when it touches me, but I still want to be careful. So I'm going to go ahead and set that down to let it dry, but you can see that it's a nice little triangle. The back of mine is not fully covered, like fully closed right here. And that's okay because this is getting covered anyways, so I'm not too worried about how it looks. Now you'll see that on one side of your fabric you might have some outline on it, and the other side you might not. I'm going to put the side with an outline against it so that I don't see the outline. That's just my preference. If you like the way it's outlined, you can leave it like that and have that on the outside, but I'm going to put that part on the inside. This back part where the fold is going to be the back of the gnome. So I'm going to work on getting everything set up so this will be for the back of him. And you can see that when you set up your fabric, it is just enough to cover up the gnome. So you want to make sure that you do this part very carefully, but you are going to go ahead and add some hot glue to the bottom part of the gnome. And we are going to work on getting him all dressed up. So I'm going to set my cone in the middle, and I'm going to bring the clothes up and over and press down on that side that I have hot glue on. I'm going to press it down. And you can see this part isn't done yet, so now I'm going to take my hot glue gun and hot glue this other edge spot. You can put more hot glue if you want. I found that I don't really need all that much, so I'm just going to use the small amount that's needed and wrap that all the way around. Now on my gnome, my clothes fit all the way around and had just a little bit showing in the back. I don't really mind that too much. On this gnome, I actually made that part the front because I covered it up. So if you really want to make that side the front so this gets covered, that's fine. I don't really care about it, so I'm going to just have that be the back side of mine. And I'm going to do the same thing for his hat, but the round part of his hat is actually going to go in the back. So when we do the hat, we're going to be gluing it together like this, with the back being the spot that's longer and the front being the sides that are going to get glued together. Again, that's just a choice. If you would rather have the long part in the front, that's fine, but you can see the long part on mine is in the back. And that's just so we have room to make his little face. The back on mine is also going to get covered. So that spot I showed you where my felt didn't meet together is going to get covered up by that longer part in the back. So I'm going to take my hot glue gun and same as before, I'm just going to hot glue one edge of my hat. Whoops. And then I'm going to go ahead and press it together. I want to be careful on this part because I don't want to glue anything other than the edge together on the hat. Otherwise the hat won't really fit onto my piece of cardstock. Now don't be alarmed if it looks kind of flat right now. When we add it onto the actual gnome, this part of it, it'll look just fine. Now I want to press it down for a few seconds until it's nice and dry. Otherwise, this is just going to peel right off. I don't really mind about these extra pieces of hot glue, but if you mind, you can just peel them off. And then to add the hat, when it's nice and dry like this, I'm going to push it open just a little bit with my finger. And then I'm just going to squeeze some hot glue inside of there. Just like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and stick the gnome's body part right into the hat. Just like that. And because I've already hot glued it, it's just going to stick right on. Now, whoops, just like I showed you before, the hat totally covered up that spot on the back for me now. So now it looks like this. Now I'm going to set my hot glue gun off to the side for a moment, and I'm going to start working with my yarn. So in your kit, you've got a bunch of pieces of yarn that are roughly the same size, and then you have one piece that's longer than all the others. You have an even amount of extra pieces. So we're going to take 2 pieces at a time, and we're going to fold them in half like this. And then we're going to take our long piece, and we're going to loop them around. So I have my 2 pieces folded in half, and I have my longer piece here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the longer piece, and using these little pieces, I'm going to come with the loop under, and I'm going to pull these long pieces through that loop so that they get attached to that long string. So it's basically making a knot over the top, but when I do it correctly, I'm going to have 4 pieces hanging down now. So I took my 2, I put them in half, just like this, and now you'll see there's 4 pieces there. And I'm going to take that loop, and I'm going to put it over, and then I'm going to take the bottom pieces and put it through the loop so that when I pull tight, it's attached to the string. And I'm going to keep doing that for all the pieces. I only put 4 sets of 2, so 8 pieces in your kits. So you'll only have to do this 4 times, or however many times you choose. This is going to be the beard for the gnome. The thicker you have it, the fuller his little beard will look. If you don't want him to have that thick of a beard, you can only do 1 or 2, but I like the way it looks, so I'm going to do all 4 of them. So this is my last one. Once again, it's folded in half. I make my loop. I come over that big piece of yarn, and then I pull those little ones through. When it's nice and tight, I can just scoot it over so that it's right next to the rest of them. So now it looks like this. And you can see I have a big piece of extra string on these ends. What I'm going to do with those is I'm going to take them and I'm going to tie them into a circle. So I'm just going to tie a knot. And because I have things tied to the ends, you won't be able to tie too small of a knot because the ends will stop it just like that. So you can see that I have this little circle part right here. I'm going to trim my extra pieces. You can leave them there if you want. I'm going to make the choice to go ahead and trim them off. So now it looks like this. Now I'm going to take my gnome, and before I glue on this part of the beard, I'm going to take one of the pieces of extra felt in my kit, and I'm just going to cut a small rectangle piece. I'm going to put some hot glue on it, and then I'm going to add that to his beard. And I'm adding it to his beard so that the beard all stays together, so that it doesn't just look really separated when it's on. And you can see, you can't even see the green felt that I put on it through the front of it. So the felt is just attached to the back. Okay, before I trim it, I'm actually gonna glue this onto the gnome right now. So to do that, I'm actually just gonna put a little bit of glue right here, and then you're just gonna glue this guy right on top. And like I said before, the glue will probably be in that little center, and that's totally perfect because now you can add the nose. If you don't have enough glue in that center to add your nose, then you can just go ahead and add a little dot of glue right there and then add the little nose. I put a little wooden bead in your kit to be his nose, and I know it's colorful, but I thought that was a fun little addition to this project. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue on my eyes. You don't have to have eyes if you don't want to, but I thought they looked cute. So I'm just going to do them right above his beard. 2 little glue dots. And then I'm going to stick my glue, my little googly eyes to the glue dots. I've got a lot of hot glue strings coming off, so I'm just going to peel those off really quickly. And now my gnome looks like this. Whoops. So now he looks like this, but his beard is super long. If you like the way it looks like that, that's absolutely fine. I'm going to actually take my scissors and trim him up a bit. And I want it to look kind of like a beard shape. So I'm going to go down like I'm making a V. So all of those are a little bit of a different length, and I like the way it looks. And then I'm going to do it back up at an angle, just like I did going down. Now it looks like that. And I'm just going to comb him out a little bit. And then lastly, if you wanted to add a little bit of decoration to it, I did put a couple different shapes in there. I think for your guys' kits, I just did a bunch of circles, just like I had on this little guy's hat. But on this hat, I'm going to go ahead and make a little triangle, and then also have one little circle on there. You can also do little berries or a little flower. I'm just being really simple and doing little shapes. So I'm just going to put a little dot of glue on that shape. Then I'm going to add it to his hat. And then I'm going to do the same with the circle. I'm going to do a little dot of glue on it. And I'm going to add it to his hat. And then you can see he has a cute little hat design now. And that is how you make a little gnome. You can do more of these because I did put a second supply kit in there, so you have enough to make a whole nother gnome. You can also do more gnomes if you have just cardstock and felt and some yarn at home. All right, everyone. That's it for this mini lesson. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you for the next one. See you later.